Ashes of Creation. Will it be a griefer's paradise? That's a really good question, actually.
So there's been a discussion going around for years now about Ashes of Creation's so-called risk versus reward systems. Some people love it and some people hate it, which is all well and good. However, there is a third party of people who have absolutely nothing going on with their lives and overthink every single aspect of this open development project. And
as you should. Obviously, as you should. Because it seems like it's super easy to actually ambush caravans and just get away with it. Unless you want whole guilds defending the caravans, but then whole guilds will just attack the caravans. So, it's gonna be interesting. Will this game be literally eaved online at? Because if that happens, that's actually gonna be pretty cool, not gonna lie.
today, I'm going to address this group because, yes, I am part of it. But before we get into that, our beautiful patrons and coped out the wazoo Twitch subs and I would love this last live stream that attackers in this scenario actually have no risk at all. They lose nothing, they have everything to gain, whilst the defenders, or more accurately, the caravan owner, has
Yeah, I talked about this. Watch this. Dude, there's no way you can defend. They have the high ground, they're invisible. Watch.
everything to lose every single
Look at that.
time. I wanted to
Bam. And in the game, if this is going to happen, the coordination is going to be better than this. People are going to get... half of these guys are going to get one shot instantaneously from the cliff, and there's nothing they can do about it, and then defenders probably lose. It's going to be crazy because of that.
talk about this because there is an important component.
Also, because keep in mind, okay, you know that you're going to get ambushed probably somewhere, right? Well, that doesn't exactly give you any real advantages now, does it? Because, yeah, you're gonna get ambushed, but how do you actually prevent that? Well, who knows?
Missing that the team have been alluding to for years. However, is this component good enough to stop Ashes of Creation collapsing in on itself and becoming a massive ganker's paradise? Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
Okay. And then an existential crisis. Okay, cool. I like those.
Okay, so I'll start by explaining that if you don't have a solid grasp on the systems and mechanics behind Ashes of Creation, you might have a hard time understanding the impact behind what I'll be saying here, and that's okay. I'll try my best to explain things in a way that breaks it down and uses references you guys might be familiar with in other popular MMOs, so bear with me because this is extremely important for feedback and the longevity of the game. Now, with that said, it's also important to explain that Caravans are obviously supposed to be a group activity. Think of Caravans as a group dungeon version of open world PvP. It's like a mobile battleground, for lack of a better terms.
By the way, the whole game is pretty much going to be more or less centered about guild activities and coordinated play, which is going to be interesting because it's hard to tell how much you're going to be able to do solo. Because it's really hard to tell at this point. Maybe solo activities are going to be too hard for single players. Because a lot of people don't want to join guilds. They just want to do their solo stuff, right? So it's interesting how it's going to end up in the real game. Are solo players just going to be shafted? Because keep in mind, the problem here is very simple. If you make solo play easy, then guilds just become so much more powerful, technically, in those situations. But if you make solo play hard, well, the solo play players are kind of shafted, so that's bad.
So expecting to do these solo or even in a group of 2 or 3 is complete nonsense unless you're willing to lose it all on a whim. And for some, that might be part of the appeal. But it also means that caravans are not going to be very viable with pugs due to the social reliance of this activity. Pugs are pickup groups for you normies out there, a bunch of people that you have no personal affiliation with and are just joining you temporarily to complete an immediate task under the expectation of a reward, looking for raid or looking for group and other such anti.
You know what could actually happen here, which would be hilarious? Pugs are not gonna probably happen here because of one simple reason. There's probably gonna be situations in Pugs where there are defenders that join up to that pug, but secretly they're actually working with the people attacking, and, well, good luck in that case, you know? Yeah, good luck when half your defenders are actually on the side of the attackers and they just do nothing. Pretty wild.
Social gameplay loops that you might find from modern MMOs are perfect examples of this, because when you just grab random people, there is no way to moderate things like spies revealing your location, no way to prevent potential leavers from abandoning you, and as it stands, there's no way to just stop people from straight up betraying you near the end and stealing all of your goods. Or is there? Well, we'll get into that in a moment, because we're getting ahead of ourselves. Anyway, with Ashes of Creation's Caravans, one person or a guild is putting their hard-earned cash and or time on the line to make a risky journey to multiply their profit. The risk being, at any point, your caravan could get attacked and the goods stolen. This is obviously great for encouraging PvP, and if you just want to create like a dynamic PvP battleground out in the open world, then this would be perfect. But what if you were doing this to actually...
Yeah, well, you see, the also problem here is the simple fact that it's been proven 20 years now that open world PvP kind of fails.
Make a profit. Well, herein lies the problem. This system is supposed to be risk versus reward. The reward being the multiplication of your goods' profits, and the risk being that you could lose it all to a bunch of randoms. However, do these randoms have any risk associated with the system? As it currently stands, by randomly attacking a caravan through the event system, there is absolutely zero risk for random players just harassing a caravan and potentially stealing all their goods for some easy money. Is this the intended gameplay loop? Are there genuinely not supposed to be any risk for attackers? And is...
I kind of understand the idea of there not being, by the way, any risk. If caravans just are such a extreme multiplier on how much money you can make, right? If they can boost 1 gold to 10 gold or something like that in 20 minutes, and getting a gold is hard, for example, then yeah, I kind of get it that there's no risk for the attackers, and that does make sense if the caravan's reward is that big.
Is the whole risk supposed to be placed on the caravan owner? If so, then caravans and this exciting risk versus reward gameplay loop will only be used by the top few guilds on a server, and that doesn't seem very exciting to me. Giving such an incredibly powerful economic advantage to just 1 or 2 guilds is going to result in some extremely one-sided PvP, both numbers-wise and power-wise. This is the mentality that killed off past PvP MMOs, because they turn into this extremely toxic environment that suppresses everyone but those top couple of guilds. And
I mean, that's just the world, baby, honestly. Like, come on. Obviously, the people who try the hardest are gonna get rewarded, probably. The people who try the most are probably also gonna get rewarded. And those are called the top players in the top guilds.
Personally, if you are in a top guild and you look at this system and you think, this is great, I hope Intrepid keep it exactly like this so I can exploit everyone on my server, then I think you completely miss the point of the game, and I don't actually think you want PvP at all. You just want to stroke your childish egos and live a power trip fantasy at the expense...
That's a completely valid way to play a game, by the way. Do not get dissuaded by these weak words. That's a completely good way to actually play a game if you want.
Of everyone else. Luckily, we don't have any guilds like that obsessed with Ashes of Creation. Oh, wait.
This type of behavior is really annoying, and if you do this, I'm just gonna ban you. You will get permaban for that type of behavior because it's annoying. Like, you're...
Envious Gaming. Go watch the AOC video. Wow, how old is this? AOC has not been relevant forever.
Just acting like an annoying 5-year-old. Why would anybody want you to be around?
Now, with the problem laid out in front of us, let's talk about a solution, because actually, there are 2 important mechanics about Ashes of Creation that moderate this. The first is social focused, and the second is actually baked into the mechanics of the game, and no, I am not talking about corruption. So, tackling the social solution first, this MMORPG is governed by a unique node system. The node system is how the player-driven world spawns towns and cities that act as social hubs for players to do their daily activities. These would be storing your goods in the bank, selling at an auction house, grinding artisan skills, and progressing certain
Yes.
PvE factions through quests and activities. However, nodes also have a social structure that involves a governing mayor, patron guilds, and citizenship. These are the core for node growth. The more people you have in your node doing daily activities, the faster your node will grow, and the more of a central hub it will become for the region. It's every guild's and mayor's dream to govern one of 5 metropolis.
It's every tyrant's dream also. That puts a smile on your face.
Nodes on the server, and it's in every citizen's best interest to help progress towards this goal. Why, I hear you ask? Because
Communism. That's why.
there's a plethora of benefits involved with it. But wait, there's more. This node system also has a vassal system which stops neighboring nodes from progressing. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but the TLDR is that the node with the highest level basically becomes the capital of a region, and all nodes that are within this capital's zone of influence basically become the same network, all working together to help progress their kingdom. It's all quite well designed, and this is where the moderation begins. Can a node governed by a toxic antisocial guild really progress to Metropolis when said node is full of citizens attacking everyone that comes near? Nobody is going to want to trade or be a citizen of said node, and therefore another...
I mean, obviously there are. Lying. It's this amazing thing that you can do, and it provides you extreme benefits a lot of the time, especially in games. Hey guys, help us make this city, we'll make you everyone rich. And there's gonna probably be a bunch of people like, oh my god, yes, and then it's tyranny. Ah, sweet, sweet tyranny.
much more socially structured one is going to end up vassaling it. This should quell most of that toxic PvP within your central hub, because node policies will encourage friendlier gameplay and teamwork. You want people to succeed because it furthers everyone else's goals.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely not how that works. There's no way to do this. People are literally gonna go to the biggest node if it provides more value, no matter what. It doesn't matter who's the leader of that node, Hitler or whoever, but they're gonna go to that node no matter what. It's just gonna be like that. People don't care because it's a game, and as long as you get more value out of something, you're probably going there. People are gonna find a way to game the system for their utmost advantage in being the absolute tyrants of a sector, and still getting people to constantly come there.
You may choose policies that do certain things for the node.
And also, keep in mind, the most basic way that everything functions. If you have a node like that is run by tyrants and not a lot of people want to go there, there's going to be people who want to go there because that means that there's probably going to be ways to get more extra profit for less work out of that node. Because maybe something's more expensive or whatnot. There's absolutely no way to just say, oh, evil tyrants controlling the node, that's bad. We're not going to go there. That's not going to work.
And this is a big strategic decision that the node has to almost agree on because it's voted on by the citizens within a short time period, but elected by the outstanding mayor. And when you deploy a policy, it confers benefits to the citizens or to the area or to specific buildings. And policies exist within certain denominations. You have some policies that might become available because you've constructed a certain building type and now you've attracted a guild of NPCs that are weaponsmiths. You might have some policies that are social organizations representative. You only get to build one social organization. Or temple, which religion does the node follow? All of these are customization points that the city gets to choose, and now you as a citizen get to identify the city that best aligns with your progression within the game and your game style and gameplay.
I've mentioned this many times in the past, but Ash's...
Essentially, he kind of said cookie-cutter things are going to be only voted for, technically. Like, a voting system sounds fine, but, dude, you're not going to win, okay? Against an organized amount of people who vote if something's clearly the most optionable thing.
of Creation isn't set up in a way that wants or even encourages inter-region conflict within this node system. Ultimately, what you want to do is not fight within your own vassal structure, you want to disrupt your neighboring vassal and hinder their progress. From my perspective, the endgame design for Ashes of Creation's node system is to be a game about kingdom wars, not node wars. So if you want to avoid PvP completely, just because of the way this is set up, you will probably be safe from PvP around the vicinity of your metropolis. Now, there is a second mechanic that was completely missing from the showcase, however, they did allude to it, and this is the idea of banditry and caravan defender progression.
You know, we do have a plan for a progression path for kind of caravans in general, where you will be able to look into them, but
This does not look sus at all.
you haven't done your grind, Steven.
But there will be progression for, you know, like you were saying about the Highwayman faction versus the Defender faction, and maybe there'll be some progression where you can get better loot percentage out of the field.
Now, there is progression paths involved with attacking and defending a caravan that can aid you in doing so, either with better equipment for it, faster ways to open crates, more yield from crates, and if you're a defender, right, better components for your caravans, stuff like that.
There is progression that's allotted through one of our social organizations. One of our social organizations have the ability to provide unique vendor lists and craft lists of crates that can be empty but look full. And so if you want to advance in that particular social organization, you could then create decoy caravans more effectively, as well as decoy merchant ships.
As it
Decoy
stands, we really
caravans,
don't understand the extent of this, but attacking caravans or defending them...
Okay, decoy caravans seems such a stupid idea, because decoy caravans are never going to be guarded by the most amount of people. If there's two caravans and one's guarded by less people, there's only two things that can potentially happen. One, obviously you attack the bigger defending party. Two, you just instantaneously wipe out the smaller defending party because, well, mass PvP kind of works like this. Bigger blob wins. Boom. And there you go. And then you find out, oh, this is decoy, and you just go and attack the real one. That seems like a questionable idea.
Them likely comes with progress towards either a bandit or a defender, offering various perks and benefits, and it might be this that offers the risk towards attackers and discourages randoms from harassing you. Again, this is speculation, but I am curious about the implementation of this system. Does becoming a...
Well, in any case, honestly, I can say one thing about Ashes Creation so far. It's gonna, at the bare minimum, even if this game fails, which I honestly hope it won't, and I don't think it will, at the bare minimum, if this game fails, it's gonna show, it's gonna give other developers a chance to look at, you know, this type of content and hopefully make it better if it fails.
Bandit have long-term consequences, or is this just going to be purely a progression system that actually encourages players to be bandits, adding more risk to that already suppressed gameplay loop that is the Caravan system? What you gotta remember is that Ashes of Creation is a social game. It's trying to bring back that old school server-wide mentality. Your name means something. If your node is known for being a host to a bunch of toxic citizens who murder all caravans within the vicinity, then players are not going to want to participate in your node. Players are not going to want to complete your buy orders. Players will not migrate to you.
That doesn't make sense, because surely people from different nodes will attack caravans in different nodes. There is a very low chance that that's going to happen. Also, if that doesn't happen, well, again, double agents. People just join that node, and then they become the intentionally toxic players of that node who disrupt everything. You see, there is no solution to stuff like this in a game. Again, I don't think there can be a solution. Now, I don't think also everything I'm saying is obviously going to be correct, because, well, reality when the game launches is going to be way probably wilder than anything anyone expects, but that just purely on paper, this doesn't have already a solution.
as you grow, and the result of that is likely getting vassaled, locked to a lower level, and shunned by the rest of the vassal network, leading to almost no economic incentive to even be in this region of the world. But I understand, there's many layers to this system, and many complications. Ashes of Creation.
Also, another complication a system like this has that he describes, that just opens up a sector of your vassal system that can be freely attacked by the enemy, and there's probably going to be no one defending it because it's poor and no one wants to be there. So yeah, that also has problems, obviously.
Is an extremely complicated game for the layman, and we'll be talking about this later this month because I think this in itself will pose some interesting problems for Ashes of Creation to overcome.
Yeah, again, this is why I'm saying this could end up being like EVE Online, where there's literal corporations of hundreds of people working for singular goals. Because you can't control a node. You can't control a territory with like 10, 20, 40 even people. You literally need hundreds of people to make something like this, well, viable. All working in a specific direction, which is gonna be hard.
But I'd love to hear your thoughts about this down in the comments below.
How will risk versus...
Anyway, that was it. That was our boy Hanark, the Lord of the Copiums himself. It is what it is. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sid, and thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.